Hello friends, welcome to today's topic. It is Medical Surgical Nursing, Unit 3, that is disorders of the respiratory system. So under disorders of respiratory system, today we'll see the bronchitis. So bronchitis is the inflammation of the bronchus. So bronchus means it is a structure of the lower respiratory system, and when that bronchus is getting inflamed means if there is any redness and swelling in the bronchus, then it is called as the bronchitis. So this is the trachea, and the trachea will give rise to two branches called as the primary bronchus, and this primary bronchus is that will lead to the lungs. So this is the normal airway of the primary bronchus. So in case if there is any inflammation which is caused due to infection, then the airway will get reduced, and thereby there will be resistance of airflow through this bronchus. So that is called as bronchitis, and bronchitis is divided into two as acute and chronic. So as the name acute, it is a sudden onset, and the bronchitis will last for few days to 3 weeks, then it is called as acute bronchitis, and within this week the symptoms has to subside. If the bronchitis will last for more, and this occurs in the subsequent year also. So in 2 years, if the patient is having more than 3 months of symptoms, then we call them it as chronic bronchitis. And next, coming to the causes of bronchitis. So the first main cause of bronchitis is the microorganisms. So the microorganisms can be a virus or a bacteria. So viral cause is due to influenza virus and the respiratory syncytial virus, and the bacterial cause is due to the pneumoniae. So this is Mycoplasma pneumoniae and the Streptococcus pneumoniae virus, and due to pertussis infection. So these are the bacterial and viral organisms which can enter the bronchus, and they can cause inflammation and irritation of the bronchus. And next is the chemical solvents which are present in the atmospheric air, and the dust and allergens. So allergens may be due to any climatic conditions or other pollen grains and any smell which cause allergy to a person. And then the air pollution. So the air has so many chemicals. When the air is polluted, then the person inhaling the polluted air, these all the chemicals which can cause irritation to the bronchus. And then it is more common for immunosuppressed patients. So immunosuppressed patients, mainly infants and old age people, they have decreased immune system, and they are more commonly affected with bronchitis. So when there is immunosuppression, then the person can go for bronchitis. And then the other cause is also GERD, which is called as gastroesophageal reflux disease. So this is a disease of the GI system where the lower esophageal sphincter doesn't close properly. So because of that, food after enter inside the stomach, because of the opening that is present in the lower esophageal sphincter, the food and the acid particles can backflow, and when they backflow through the throat, they can accidentally enter into the lungs, and they can cause bronchitis. So these are the causes of bronchitis. And next, coming to the Pathophysiology of bronchitis. So whenever any microorganism, dust or chemical or any solvents, acids, when they enter in the respiratory tract through the inhalation, that is breathing in, there will be irritation of the respiratory tract. So this is the foreign body, and our body will start producing chemicals in order to destroy the foreign body. So there will be irritation in the respiratory tract. So because of this, when there is irritation, there will be increased blood vessels, there is increased vascularization, and thereby there will be redness and swelling formed in the mucosal lining of the bronchi. So when the inflammation starts, our body defense mechanism is to produce the neutrophils. So these are present in the WBC, which helps in destroying the foreign body. So these neutrophils and the inflammatory mediators, they keep producing, and these chemicals cause the walls of the bronchi to get damaged. And so when the walls of the bronchus is damaged due to the inflammatory mediators and the other chemicals irritating the walls, the fluid which is present within the cells, they come outside and they form like a mucus. So that is hypersecretion of mucus from the lining of the irritated bronchus in response to the inflammation. So this inflammation will cause more and more fluid to be produced, and they accumulate like a mucus within the bronchus, and this is called production of sputum with cough. So when the sputum is produced, our body defense mechanism is to reflex is to bring out the sputum by coughing. So that is called, so when the person is showing symptoms of sputum and cough, it is called as acute bronchitis. So if the person is not treated during acute bronchitis, it may further when the further damage and inflammation occurs in the bronchus, they can form goblet cells. Goblet cells are nothing but this mucus, they form like a cells within the walls of the bronchus, and this mucus like cells will form on this lining of the small airways. So when the airways are filled with mucus, there will be narrowing of the airways. Narrowing is, there will be constriction of the airways. So because of this constriction, there is obstruction to the airways. That means all the air gets trapped inside, and also oxygen, so the oxygen has to go inside and carbon dioxide has to go outside, but here the oxygen get trapped and there will be pressure increase within the respiratory tract, and this causes resistance of the airways. So there will be resistance, so the lung has to breathe more, that is, it has to function more in order to pull the atmospheric air, and this causes imbalance in the ventilation and perfusion. So imbalance in ventilation and perfusion means, ventilation is the amount of air entering through the lungs, and perfusion is when the oxygen enters the lungs during inspiration, that oxygen has to go to the blood and the tissues, that is the internal respiration which occurs, that is called as perfusion. So when there is more resistance and the air is getting trapped inside, the carbon dioxide is not getting cleared from the airways, which will cause the imbalance in the ventilation and perfusion of the lungs. So this will result, this process is called as the chronic bronchitis. And next, coming to the signs and symptoms. So because of the mucus secretion, patient will have the cough, and with the cough will come with sputum, and the sputum can be white, clear, greenish yellow, or purulent. Purulent is when it becomes more infectious, and sometimes it can also be blood tinged when there is because of the irritation in the lining of the respiratory tract. And the patient may have tachypnea. So tachypnea is increased respiratory rate, Tachypnea is increased respiratory rate. So as I already said, there is more resistance within the airways, so the heart has to function more in order to pull the atmospheric air, so there will be increased breathing. So that is called tachypnea. So when the air is getting trapped inside, the carbon dioxide will increase and the oxygen cannot enter inside, so the blood will not get adequate oxygen. So this decreased oxygen in blood is called as hypoxemia. And patient also will show breathing difficulty, that is called as shortness of breath or dyspnea, and he will have wheezing. Wheezing is an abnormal respiratory sound where the breathing of the patient will be like a whistling. Whistling is because the air is trapped inside, so the whistling sound will be produced from the during breathing is called as wheezing. And because of the difficulty breathing and the patient is not getting adequate oxygen to the body, the patient may go to fatigue, which is called tiredness. And whenever there is an infection, the body will increase the temperature in order to naturally destroy the bacteria that is producing the infection. So body will increase the temperature. So when the temperature increases more than a set point, then patient will put out the chills in order to remove the heat by evaporation. So these are the signs and symptoms of bronchitis. Next, coming to the diagnostic test of bronchitis. So in diagnosis, we have to collect the history. So history regarding the area where the patients live, so that can identify whether there is air pollution, and we have to collect history regarding allergens or any infection with pneumonia or any viral infection if the patient is having. So we have to collect the history so that we can identify what is the baseline problem of the patient. Next, we have to collect the physical examination. So in physical examination, patient will have breathing difficulty, and then wheezing sounds can be heard, chest discomfort will be there, and there will be fever. And sputum has to be sent for culture and sensitivity. That means we have to find what microorganism is growing, and according to the microorganism we can give antibiotics and treat the patient. And the main test is the chest x-ray. So chest x-ray will show if there is air trap inside, and if there is any obstructed airways, there will be a color change in the x-ray with which we can identify patient is having some problem or obstruction in the airways. And ABG analysis is called arterial blood gas analysis. This will show the saturation. Normally saturation should be more than 90%. If it is less, the patient has problem with respiration. And we have to see the blood pH. So pH will show whether the blood is acidic or alkaline. And we have to see the partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So these values will say whether patient breathing is normal or he has problem with the breathing. And next, pulmonary function test. So this pulmonary function test is done to identify how much volume of air is entering the lungs and how much volume of air is present within the lungs after exhalation. So they give a clear data of how the lung is functioning. So these are the diagnostic tests done during when the patient is having bronchitis. Next, we go into the treatment. So coming to the treatment, so mainly in treatment we have to start the patient with oxygen therapy. So start with oxygen therapy, and so either by mask or nasal prongs, and according to the patient's saturation levels, oxygen therapy has to be started. And next, if there is excess secretion should be removed either by suctioning or steam inhalation or by using nebulization therapy. So this suctioning, steam inhalation, nebulization therapy will be done to remove the secretions. And next, we have to identify allergens And if the patient is allergic to something, then we have to say the patient and tell measures to avoid the allergens. And next we have to advise the patient to take lots of oral fluids, because oral fluids can liquefy the mucus and then they can easily expel out the mucus. So these are the basic treatment we do, and later it is the pharmacological therapy. So in pharmacological therapy, first we have to treat with antibiotic. So antibiotic, there are so many groups, mainly ampicillin, tetracycline and doxylin. So these are the group of drugs given antibiotic, and based on the sputum culture which antibiotic patient is sensitive, we can give the drug. If it is a viral cause, then antiviral azithromycin has to be administered. And next we have to give anti-inflammatory agents. In anti-inflammatory agents, we have to administer mainly steroids. Steroids can reduce the inflammation. The drug of choice in steroids is dexamethasone and methylprednisone. Then in order to remove the secretions, they give antacids. So the main drug of choice is in antacids is codeine. And in order to dilate the bronchus, if there is any resistance in the bronchus to dilate and increase the airway passage, they give bronchodilators. There is group of drugs called ipratropium, salbutamol, terbutaline and methylxanthine groups consist of aminophylline, deriflin. So these are the drugs given, and if the patient has fever, then we have to give antipyretics, paracetamol. So these are the group of drugs given in case patient is having the bronchitis. So apart from this, so the nursing health education which is given to the patient is, you have to advise the patient about flu vaccination. If the patient is not vaccinated against influenza, he has to get vaccinated, and pneumococcal vaccination, and then other pulmonary rehabilitation. So in pulmonary rehabilitation, it includes chest physiotherapy, coughing exercises. So this has to be told to the patient. Otherwise, in diet, you have to advise the patient to take more of oral fluids, and dry ginger tea is a herbal treatment which can be used, or lemon with honey. Lemon water with honey can also treat the bronchitis. So these are some herbal therapies which can be done at home. So I hope you all would have understood the bronchitis class. Thank you, students.